Well, what a pleasure. I'm joined now by Mildred Dresselhaus. Millie, welcome.
Yes, hello.
And thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We very much appreciate that.
Happy to do so.
So what are you up to at the meeting this year? Are you doing presentations?
Yes, I gave a talk yesterday at the opening session, session A. Start off the meeting with a bang.
And what was that about?
Well, they asked me to talk about carbon nanotubes and in the context of carbon nanostructures. So I gave sort of a historical and factual and up-to-date, looking into the future type talk.
And what are some of the research fields that you're interested in at the moment?
Well, I'm into nanoscience, and carbon is a very good example of nanoscience. So materials, new materials, carbon layered materials and that sort of thing. So that's one of my main areas now. It's not only nanotubes or intercalation compounds and their derivatives, but I'm into graphene and beyond graphene, all of those things. Yeah.
It's a very vibrant area of research, isn't it, materials?
Yeah. When I started out, there was nobody interested in it. Back in 1960, I think I was almost unique in the field.
And it's an area of physics that's obviously got a lot of very practical implications.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. We had a conference not too long ago on applications, and it was just jam-packed with industrial folks. So there are people out there wanting to know more about the unique properties and how they might use them.
Broadening that out slightly, how do you find the whole physics family at the moment? Do you find it a vibrant arena? Do you find it one full of confidence?
Yes, it's surprising. It has grown enormously since 1960, and it keeps increasing. I think that physics as a whole is increasing right now in interest worldwide, and my particular area is particularly even among physics, especially popular now.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think physics is growing in popularity?
Well, I think people see it as having some connection with society and perhaps having some answers in terms of new materials that we need for various different kind of applications, and also maybe for the energy field. So both of those areas. I think in the U.S. Our administration is very much interested in sustainability, and maybe carbon might play a role in that.
Do you think, how important is all the shenanigans going on in Washington to physics? Is there an uncertainty about funding? There's the sequester.
Well, yeah, there is an uncertainty, and we go through these kinds of uncertainties, these blips, maybe every 20 years. I think we had one in 1980, and we had one in the 50s. Well, maybe it's 30 years. We go through blips, and I frankly think that when we go through these blips, we shake up the community, so some people leave, some people change fields, subfields. That may be good, because when we just do our science day by day, by day by day, it gets kind of not so novel. But when all of a sudden you're shaken up, I think it brings new ideas to the field. It eliminates some people, it brings new people, because they got shaken up in other areas and they drift in. So.
Well, that's a very interesting kind of way of looking at it. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you was, over the 50 meetings you've come to, do you think, what about diversity within the physics profession? I'm thinking particularly women in physics.
Yes, that's a good question. When I got my PhD back in 1958, we were 2%. of physics. So we were pretty much invisible. At a meeting, we were even more invisible because we were of the younger generation. So before us, there were even fewer. So you went to a meeting, you saw no women, essentially. And now you see not few, but not many either. When you go to any of the sessions, we are still a large minority.
Why do you think that is?
It's hard to say. I thought that when we got to 15% of the student body, we would have reached critical mass, but it hasn't happened in physics. It's a number larger than 15%. I don't know what the number is, but women get their degrees, and we see them less at the meetings than I believe what we see in the classroom. And I guess it's a competitive field, and I found myself that you just can't stop. And when people have families and other obligations, it gets difficult. I think that's part of it.
Well, Millie, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time, and hope you have a great week and enjoy the meeting.